What's up, Space Pirates? This is your captain, the Dread Pirate Dr. Disaster, and I know that you're all aware that the game journalists out there are ideologically possessed jackasses who don't actually care about video games, and as a consequence, we all know they don't know a damn thing about the industry and what gamers actually like.
I'm so sick of these people, you know. Oh!
You see, the Golden Joystick Awards, if you weren't aware, are an annual award celebration for video games, and gamers get to vote on nominated games in a variety of different categories, but the problem with all of this is that gamers can only vote on games that are nominated, and game journalists are the ones who make the nominations. And since the game journalists out there are oblivious to what people actually like, they have snubbed easily 3 of the best-selling and most liked games: Space Marine 2, Stellar Blade, and Black Myth Wukong. Not one of them were nominated for Game of the Year.
I have a lot of questions. Number 1, how dare you?
The fact that none of these games even made it onto the list of nominees is an absolute joke, especially Black Myth Wukong. That game is now one of the best-selling games of all time. It was an absolute phenom. Gamers love it. I mean, look at that user score for Metacritic. They gave it an 8.3 out of 10. The website VG Insights estimates that the game has sold 21 million units on Steam in just a month and a half. The fact that Black Myth isn't on the list is a purely ideological decision, and I think I know exactly what many gamers would like to say to these bozos in the mainstream media.
You stupid, ignorant son of a bitch, dumb bastard! Jesus Christ, I've met some dumb bastards in my time, but you outdo them all.
Alright, me hearties, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and also, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, where I keep a list of woke and DEI infected games pinned to my account at all times for your reference. My handle over there is Dr. Disaster 1. Anyway, the Golden Joystick Award nominees were announced, and here's your list of games that you do get to vote for the best game of the year. For the PC Game of the Year, they have Animal Well, Balatro, Frostpunk 2, Satisfactory, Tactical Breach Wizards, and UFO 50. And then, for Console Game of the Year, we have Astrobot, Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Helldivers 2, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, and Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Conspicuously absent are 3 of the best-selling games that came out in 2024, which also, not coincidentally, pissed off game journalists for various reasons. First off, let's talk about Black Myth Wukong. As I said before, this game has sold over 20 million units in a bit over a month on Steam. That is absolutely massive, and there is no justification whatsoever for any Game of the Year list which doesn't include Black Myth due to its massive popularity. But yeah, the game journalists do not like Game Science, the developer of Black Myth, because Game Science allegedly turned down an offer by Sweet Baby Inc. to consult on their game for $7 million. Game Science publicly announced that they had turned down such an offer, and shortly after they allegedly turned down Sweet Baby, IGN and other mainstream outlets started saying that Game Science was sexist, and they had sexist business practices, which came completely out of nowhere, and those claims were unsubstantiated. I have said this before, and I will say it again. It almost doesn't even matter if the story is true or not. It doesn't really matter if Sweet Baby actually got turned down by Game Science. The important thing is that Game Science publicly shot Sweet Baby down, signaling that they are on the side of gamers, and as a result, the game sold super well, and game journalists hated this game, which is the real reason why they put out all the smear pieces about Game Science, and it's the real reason why Black Myth is not on this list of potential Game of the Year. And then let's talk about Stellar Blade. Despite being an absolute powerhouse this spring, selling over 1 million units in a little over a week, Stellar Blade isn't on the list for 2 reasons. T, and of course A. If there's anything that game journalists do not like, it's the female form. Unless the form of that particular female appears androgynous, super fat, or flat out manly. Eve from Stellar Blade was easy on the eyes, so gamers absolutely loved her, but the journalists did not. Hence, they didn't nominate the game for Game of the Year. And of course, we have Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2, which has been absolutely crushing it this past month since it came out. The game has sold 4.5 million copies in about a month, according to VG Insights. That is absolutely awesome. And yet, this game did not make it on the list of nominees, and I don't think it's hard to figure out why. First of all, a lot of the terminally online wokesters have been whining that the game didn't have enough diversity in it, despite the fact that the 3 main characters are a white dude, an Asian dude, and a black dude. But those complaints about this game have fallen on deaf ears. Ultimately, I'd guess the main reason this game was shunned is because the CEO of Saber Interactive, which made Space Marine 2, their CEO seems to have left an anti-woke comment on an Asmongold video talking about how they need to take progressive messaging out of games. This comment made the rounds online, with game journalists freaking out about it and demanding that the CEO refute it, but Saber Interactive ignored the news completely, which is a good sign that it was actually him that said it. In any event, I'm sure that this is why Space Marine 2 was snubbed. Black Myth and Space Marine 2 were both nominated under the category Best Visual Design, but that's pretty weak sauce, and Stellar Blade wasn't nominated for anything at all in any category. The golden joystick is a damned joke, and the mainstream media clowns ought to be ashamed of themselves, but that would require self-awareness, so of course they won't. But all of this is why I actually strongly support an alternative to this shit show. In any event, I'm going to leave it there. Drop your mockery of these puny-brained game journalists into the comment section below, and we will talk there.
Thanks for watching, Mihar.